Hello there, welcome back to the channel. Thanks very much for being with me today. I hope you're well. Here we are back in Planet Zoo, and we are here in Tiny Zoo. I've been out of this zoo for a little while, but I've just come back with a couple of episodes, and I've got back into the swing of things again, and I'm really enjoying being back in here again, actually. So in our last episode we were in here with our lovely ibex. Oh, and look at this dude. I always see one up on this log here. It's very cute. I mean, graphically he's technically flying, but it's kind of cool. These guys love climbing. I had a lot of fun in this episode building this lovely sort of rocky environment for them to climb around on. And today we are going right over the other side of the zoo. Do you know what? I'm going to take you on a little tour through the zoo rather than zooming over the top. Oh, look at that. They've got a little lemur running around out there. Let's continue around here. Let's go up over here. So this was one of our last episodes as well. Our badgers, how are they getting on? They seem happy in there, don't they? Just having a little wander around. And the others are probably sleeping. They do that a lot. So let's keep going down here past our camels. They were in here a long time ago. Just standing around, not doing a lot. That's what camels do. Where should we go? Let's go up the steps, shall we? Past our Bengal tigers. Let's see, have a look. Anyone in? No, they must be out and about. How about our flamingos? In our flamingo pond, they all seem pretty happy in there. Oh, there that most of them are. Here we go. Happy flamingos, that's what I like to see. Okay, let's come down here. Anybody in bed? Yeah, we have one little tortoise in there. Oh, we've got an aardvark in here as well. Look at that. Lovely. Right, down the steps, around the corner. What do we have here? We have some hogs. Wallowing in their mud as they do. And finally, we come to our new enclosure that I'm building. This is a new animal for me. This is not something that I've put in before to any of my zoos. You can't even see them because the grass is so long. But this is a Binturong. Lovely little creatures. Don't know too much about them, I'll be honest. But I know they're climbers. They like to climb. Actually, believe it or not, I have seen these quite recently in a little wildlife park that I went to. Saw them for the first time in the flesh, and they were really lovely little creatures. But yeah, they do love to climb. They basically their entire habitat was just one big climbing frame, and they are amazing climbers. They've got these pretty long claws. They're very what's the word? I want to say dextile. That's not the right word, is it? Dexterous? That sounds about right. Agile. That's the word I'm probably looking for. I'm sure dexterous is a word. Right, so at the moment you can see our Binturong are in here, but they've got nothing to climb on. So let me zoom out and show you exactly where this is and what I'm planning. So I wanted something here, so I've extended the fence of the main zoo all the way out here. I wanted to create an odd shaped habitat here. You know, a lot of the stuff in the zoo has been fairly square shaped. You know, a lot of the habitats are squares or rectangles. I've been mixing up a little bit more recently, certainly with the ibex. I did the lemurs here as well. Obviously the flamingo pond wasn't square, but yeah, I do want to try and mix things up a little bit. So that's what I'm doing here, and I had the idea that I could create a sort of a round edge path leading to a viewing area over here. So that's sort of what I've laid out, very basic. Just got the shape of the path in, and the basic fence. The gate is over here, and my plan is, or indeed was, because I've already done it, was to do a large climbing frame right in the middle of the structure. Sorry, hang on, let me say that again. A large climbing structure in the middle of the habitat. With possibly a pond underneath was the original thought. I think that is what I ended up with. So yeah, so you know, giving these guys plenty to climb on. So without further delay, let me load up my next save point and show you what I did first. Right, so this is the climbing frame structure that I came up with. So it's a good solid structure, thick logs. These guys are pretty chunky animals actually. When you look at them, they're Certainly when I saw them in real life, they were much bigger than I thought, and clearly very muscular as well. So they're they were good size, a good weight, so they need something good and strong to climb on. So this was a very basic structure that I came up with. I thought I'd put them a bed in the middle, and because of the shape of the habitat, it kind of cried out for me to extend it sideways and put a couple of little platforms out here that they could climb onto. So let me just show you that they can actually get all over this, luckily. They don't swim, apparently, which is a shame because I've put a large pond in for them. For some reason, it thinks they can escape. Clearly they can't get out here. I don't know why it thinks they can, because the fence here stops them from getting out. So I don't know why it seems to think that they're going to escape, but there we go. But yeah, they can't swim, but it's such a big area. I wanted there to be a nice pond in the middle anyway. Whether they use it or not, I mean, they'll still drink from it. But yeah, I like a nice bit of water in my habitats usually. So my thinking was, obviously I didn't want to just leave it like this because this looks plain and boring. I wanted to have foliage coming up through it. That's why I've left it sort of like a grid pattern, so I could have trees potentially growing up through it, making it look like the climbing structure had been built sort of around existing trees. So that is what the plan was, and that is in fact what I do next. So yeah, there we go. It's a very simple structure, and these things always look a bit plain and boring when they're just built like this. But obviously, once you start doing other stuff around them, then they blend in a bit better and they look much more established and better. So yeah, excuse me. So let me continue on to the next section where I do a bit more detailing. I think I'll probably start some of the foliage next. I can't quite remember, to be honest, but let's load it up and have a look, shall we? Okay, so I got a little bit carried away with this next save point. I seem to recall at the time I thought I'd saved it and I hadn't, and so I kind of skipped a section of play where I should have saved a separate version. But anyway, there we go. Look, you can see our Binturong is used. Oh dear, he's walking in the wood. There we go. That's better. So they do come up on here and sleep. So let me talk you through what I've done, because as you can see, there's quite a lot here. Obviously decorated the water, even though they can't use it. I do my usual sort of stuff. So I've got some reeds in. Lots of this, I always forget what this is. Is it elephant grass? Underwater eel grass, that's the one. I love this stuff. And in fact, in this habitat, I've used this out on the land as well, because it just looks like tufts of grass. And that's something I think I'll do more, because I think it looks really good just as an actual land grass as well as a water grass. So there's various chunks of that around. Got a few bits of papyrus. Excuse me. I don't know what's going on with my voice today. We've got some bits of papyrus growing over on the edge here as well. Obviously some rocks around the edge. I had to put some rocks in here because I put one of these feeding troughs in here. The forage box, is it? Yeah, forage box. So I had to sort of create an edge here with rocks. So I've just continued that with these nice mossy rocks just around the edge of the water. I have my traditional fallen log in, of course, because that's what I do. Can't have a bit of water without a fallen log, can you? And obviously some of these lovely planted wooden panels sunk down into the water as well. Just really fills it out with some nice green, down here. Just looks cool, doesn't it? Even if they're not using it, I still want it to look nice. So that was that. Obviously a bit of enrichment as well. They don't have a lot of enrichment actually, the Binturongs. They only have the forage boxes. They have this sort of anteater type thing to get snacks out of the little holes, and they have the little food ball here as well. But that's about it. As far as food goes, they do have some toy ones that I do put in. I put a couple of toy ones up on these platforms here. And then for the barrier edge, I wanted to do something a little bit different here. And I came up with this. I think this looks really nice actually. I was very pleased, particularly with this bit here. So these are upturned flower pots. So if you have a look, this is one of these, you see. So it's one of these flower pots turned upside down. I have used this elsewhere in one of my other zoos. I think in Luna Zoo I used this as an edge for a for a flower border or a shrub border. And I thought here it looked a bit different, and I can, it's a bit tricky because when you put them together at the edges, it does create these odd shapes here, but I don't mind that actually. I think it looks okay. And so I used that. I had to sort of manipulate the barriers just a tiny bit to make sure it all fitted together, but I think that looks really nice actually as a bottom to a barrier. I think it looks a bit different, a bit unusual, a bit unique. So that's what I'm all about here, trying to come up with new ideas to do these things. Because, when you're building habitat after habitat, especially when you use the same barriers a lot of the time, it's very easy for them to all look the same. So part of the challenge of playing the game is to come up with new ideas and ways of making the same things look slightly different. So that's what I did, obviously, around the main bit and along the back here. But then I got to the door here and I wasn't too sure because I only had these little holes to fill in. So I just turned them on their end and made this sort of, I don't know, pillars, I suppose. So this is just two of them sort of like this, sunk into each other on their ends and spun around. I think that looks really nice actually as a sort of an edge to the gateway. So yeah, I don't mind that at all. I think that worked out pretty nice. Let me know what you think. Do you think that looks okay? I'm happy with it, and that's the main thing, isn't it? So there we go. That's coming on really nicely now. I think that's starting to look like a decent habitat. Obviously, there's no trees in yet or shrubs, and I've still got the toy enrichment items to put in, and then I've still got the pathway around the outside and the viewing area over here to do as well. So still plenty to go, but yeah, quite a lot done in that particular save point. And I've been strong and happy. I mean, they've got water, they're getting food, and they've got a nice little climbing frame to go on. So yeah, they're pretty happy getting around in there at the moment. Let me just check their traversable areas, make sure. Yeah, see, they can still get around in plenty of places. A few things are blocking them, like the feeder here, but luckily all the foliage they can walk through. Obviously they couldn't go in the water anyway, so that wasn't a problem. Actually, look, they can get up on that rock there as well, and on this. So yeah, so they're good climbers, so they can do a good bit of rock climbing as well if they want. Right, let's move on, shall we? Let's load up the next save point. Right, quite a bit of progression again here. So let's start in the middle here. We have some trees. So I've went with some of these common ash trees. I wanted trees. Obviously, I wanted stuff that was climbable. I also wanted trees that were fairly dense, but if the Binturong were inside them, you'd still be able to see them. So that was my thinking behind the ash tree here, because it is fairly dense, but you can still see a lot of the actual branches inside. So hopefully, once the Binturong are in the trees, you'd still catch glimpses of them. Plus, I managed to get them in the right sort of places that it actually does look like they're interacting with the climbing frame properly. So I made sure all the branches were not sort of going through the climbing frame. Oh, I don't think so. Actually, look, I've missed one there. Never mind, that's life, isn't it? I tried to make it. let me take that back. I tried to make it look like the climbing frame was actually built around the tree, but it mostly works. So yeah, it's all good. So the Binturong, once more, let's check their traversable areas. Okay, it doesn't seem to want to calculate that one. Okay, there we go. So this one, you see, it can actually climb up the trees. So there are a few green lines here in the trees. It never seems particularly good at calculating where they can go in the trees. They seem to be able to walk all over them, but it only puts up a few little green lines. But there we go. So they can get up into the trees, which is the main thing. So that's in there. I've also put one of these lovely, one of my usual umbrella trees at the back, just because I love them, and as you remember, I use them absolutely everywhere in this zoo because they're just fantastic. And they obviously the theme of this zoo is all about everything feeling kind of small and compact and tight together. So these trees kind of create that lovely thick canopy that I'm after. And yeah, I thought it worked in the back there. There are some toy enrichments now down in here. So you've got a ball, you've got a scent thing here, you've got a rubber duck in the water, even though they don't go in the water. It's, there's nowhere else I can put a rubber duck really. You've got a rubbing pad here, you've got an ice ball, you have another rubbing pad back here. Actually, are they both rubbing pads? That's a rubbing pad. What's this one? Yeah, that's a rubbing pad as well. Oh, that's just a different type. That's fine. You've got a cardboard box over here. You've got a cardboard box here and another beach ball. So they've got a lot of toys to play with, which is good. Keeps them entertained. Here they are, using their forage box. Nice. Having their lunch or breakfast. Probably lunch. I think it's midday. Right, so that's the habitat. Basically, that's the habitat done. For the inside at least. And then on the outside, I wanted to continue this same brickwork from here. Now it's a bit tricky because the pathway shows up in places, but obviously that's a problem I can deal with at some point when I work on this area over here, which actually happens in the next episode. But I won't give you spoilers for that just yet. So yeah, so the path comes along here. Like I say, I'm not worried about this outside edge yet. I can tidy that up later on. I just wanted to get the inside looking good. And it comes around here and it fills up this entire area over here as well. Which I appreciate. It doesn't look perfect because you do end up, actually I think I do sink this one down a little bit to match it up better, but you do end up with some of the bricks going off at odd angles, but there is just no way of avoiding that, unfortunately. So it's fine. So this was my first idea for this corner. I wanted to create sort of a round seating area here, and then I plonked down one of my traditional tree planters in the middle, and it wasn't working for me. I decided I wanted some sort of a building, sort of a shelter in here. You had all this wasted space behind here, and I didn't know quite what to do. I didn't want to just put a fence here. I don't know. It wasn't working for me basically. So I think I've just got one more save point to show you. Which is what I end up doing in this corner here. And in fact I think, yeah, there's no information board yet, and I think I do an information board somewhere as well. I can't quite remember actually, but yeah, I think if I just load up my last save point, that will finish off this area because it does change quite dramatically from what's there now. But on the whole this is looking pretty nice now. I'm very happy with how it came together actually. And the Binturong are happy too, and that's what matters. So let me just load up the last point. So here we have our final design. As you can see, I'll put some benches around here. These do change a little bit when I do the next episode, which is in this area. I show you these benches because they kind of match the wood that I've used at the base of the perimeter fence here, so I thought they went quite well together with that. So over here, this is what I've come up with. So this is a fairly standard sort of building to design. So it's using the usual technique where you create the spine and then you rotate it around, so you end up with a wedge, and then you fill it in. So in this case I filled it in with these beams. What are these? Planet Zoo beams, square painted. Yeah, so I wanted white. So they just come all the way up here, and then obviously you get to the point where they're too long, and so then I've just gone with some planks of wood coming down from the top, and then you just copy that round and then rotate it, and you end up with this. And then I moved it into position. Obviously I also just did the downwards areas here, very simple as well. You just once you created the whole thing, I moved it into position and then deleted off all the bit that I didn't want. So I think that looks pretty cool now actually. So you come in here and you sit down and you're nice and sheltered. Inside I'll put some lights in here, so let me just put it to dark. So you've got these lovely beams of lights, or lights on the beams I should say, up the middle here. You've also got a main light at the front, because these ones don't actually provide you a lot of light even though they look good. Whereas this one at the front here actually supplies you with some light, so it's just a gentle light, so you could sit in here in the dark if you want, and you probably wouldn't see a lot of the animals really, but you could at least see yourself. Right, let's get that back to daytime. And in here there's just a few benches, a couple of bins. I put a drinks machine in as well. I thought it's definitely the sort of place where you would find a drinks machine. And as one of my little details that I like to add in to this zoo, one of these little water spouts here, ready to hose down the deck when they're cleaning or whatever. So yeah, very simple structure, but I thought it finished off that area really nicely actually there. It fills that corner in nice, kind of continues the round shape if you look. I positioned it in such a way that it kind of continues that theme, that shape there. And obviously the pathway is wide enough that you can walk in here. So yeah, it's simple, but it certainly does what I wanted it to do. And I think it looks okay as well, which is always a bonus. So there we go, that is our Binturong habitat. Now the one thing I did forget to do by the looks of it, because I did do this a couple of weeks back actually, I haven't done an information board. Now I can't remember if I come back and do that again at a later point or not. If not, I will have to try and remember and come back at some point in the future when I do some more and add in an information board, because that's terrible of me really. You can't learn about the animals at the moment. Just need something here probably, doesn't it? And then maybe duplicated over here somewhere. So yeah, so I will keep an eye on that in my next episode. So I've already done a couple more builds. I've done the next episode, which is here, and I've done another one over here, and then I'm actually currently working on another one over here. So there's plenty coming in the future, but I'll be honest, I cannot remember if I've already spotted that I forgot that board and come back and done one. So I'll just have to keep an eye on it and let you know in a future episode. But that is going to be it for today. That is our new Binturong, my first Binturong habitat. And I am pretty pleased with how that turned out. I think it looks pretty accurate as to what a Binturong habitat would look like. And I am happy with what I've done on the outside here. Certainly I like this sheltered area here. Obviously this is still a bit messy, but that all gets tidied up in the next episode. So I'll give you a little spoiler. The next episode is in here. And it's a bit of a unique episode, certainly for this zoo, because it's not a single animal going in. It's an exhibit habitat, if that makes sense. So it's the you know, the little exhibit animals, all of these frogs and snakes and spiders, stuff like that. So I put in about 10, maybe even 12 of those in here in a building. And it's kind of an outdoor building. It's more like a shelter. But I really like it actually. I'm really pleased with how it all turned out, sort of linking this pathway to this one over here. In here you can kind of walk in and around all the exhibits and everything in there. So yeah, it's a slightly different sort of episode, but I really like how it's all turned out. So please do join in for that, probably in the next week or so when I post that. But for now, that is going to be our Binturongs done. So thank you very much for being with me today. If you've enjoyed the episode and if you want to help out the channel, if you could just hit that like button, that would really help me out and I would really appreciate that. If you want to say anything, please do leave a comment. I do enjoy all the comments that you leave. Not that you leave too many. I guess people at least like what I'm doing, but you know, if you like it or if you don't like it, please let me know either way. So yeah, there we go. So thank you very much. Take care of yourselves. Hopefully I will see you again very soon. Until then, bye bye.